We'll now explore what this thesis entails. Hence, we are now at the table of contents. Like other theses, we'll have the list of figures, the list of tables, the list of abbreviations. Then we will move to chapter 1, and in this chapter, you will find 1, the introduction, 1.1, the background to the study, 1.2, rationale for the study, 1.3, the problem, 1.4, the purpose of the study, 1.5, the significance of the study, 1.6, the scope of the study, 1.7, the structure of the study, and 1.8, the summary of chapter 1. We will next move to chapter 2. Here we'll find the background and reflections. So first, like chapter 1, we'll see an introduction. 2.1 Introduction, 2.2 Reflections on Personal and Professional Identity, 2.2.1 Benefits and Challenges, 2.2.2 The Students, 2.2.3 The Strategies, 2.2.4 The Ministry of Education, 2.2.5 Resources, 2.2.6 Training, 2.2.7 Stakeholders, 2.3 Educational Leaders Journey in the Private School System, SSLC. 2.4 Educational Leaders Journey for Right Start World Changers, RSWC. 2.5 Summary and Conclusion of Chapter 2. Next, we will move to Chapter 3. Here you'll find a systematic review, a PRISMA model that describe how the data was dealt with. 3.1, as the other two chapters, we have an introduction. 3.2, position in the literature review. 3.1, table, eligibility criteria for the literature review on participants. 3.21, you'll find the search strategy. Then you'll find for 3.2, a table with keywords. 3.2.2 additional search strategies such as screening and eligibility. Figure 3.1 summary of criteria for literature review looking at the PRISMA model, and 3.3 you'll find the summary of chapter 3. So these are the important topics giving you a peep of what is to be found inside of the thesis. So we're just enticing you as you listen to these topics and from these chapters to go and read this study. We'll now move to chapter 4. Here you'll find the literature review. So for chapter 1, we had the introduction chapter. Chapter 2, personal identity and reflection. Chapter 3, we have the literature review looking at the PRISMA model. And chapter 4, we have the literature review. Here for the literature review, 4.1, COVID-19 and Jamaica's context. 4.11, Jamaica's education during COVID-19, UNICEF Report 2021. 4.12, Government, Ministry of Education, Jamaica and Vision 2030. 4.13, MOE and the Global Sustainable Development Goals, SDG 4. Figure 4.1, Sustainable Development Goals and Jamaica's Education System. 4.1.4, Jamaica's Education System Levels. 4.1.41, Illustration of Inequity in Jamaica's Education System. Figure 4.2, the levels of Jamaica's education system. 4.1, 4.2, Jamaica's Strategic Goals and SDG 4. Figure 4.3, Jamaica's Strategic Development Goals. Figure 4.1, 4.3, MOE and NCEL, its agency, a Vision 2030 priority. 4.1.44, the National Task Force 2004, Educational Reform, guide, and 4.1, 4.5, NCEL, a priority for Jamaica's Vision 2030, 4.1.46, NEI, an agency of the MOE, 4.1, 4.7, the National Effective Principles Training Program, 4.1, 4.8, approval of the Leadership Development Action Plan, and 4.1, 4.9, reflection. 4.4, we're now looking at leadership. 4.41, conceptualization of the educational leadership. 4.42, strategic leadership. 4.43, visionary leadership. 4.4, transformational leadership. Then we have motivated principals, motivated teachers. We have 4.45, humble leadership. Then we have humble leadership and building teams, supporting or support coming from executive educational leaders. Figure 4.4, humble leadership. We have 4.46, spirituality and its relevance to educational leadership. 4.461, educational leaders and spirituality. Then we'll go to theme 1, which is 4.5. You'll find our core theme, which is theme 1. 4.51, research question 1, MOE and NCEL supporting principles, followed by most countries use online internet as an opportunity, consensus and solutions for assessment during COVID-19, participants concerned about their level of preparedness, school leaders' responsibilities, professional development teachers, psychological and socio-emotional implications, experiences in Ecuador and other countries, the United States of America, USA. We go to 4.52, lack of research responding to the COVID-19 crisis. Then we have educational leadership practices, preparation and training programs, self-care of educational leaders, learning to lead and manage change in a crisis, educational leaders valuing their communities, distributed leadership and its relevance, early response to the crisis. The findings reveal the following. So 4.53, the findings reveal the following. Initial lessons learned from COVID-19, stakeholders leading transformation, educational leaders responding to the school's needs, strategies executive use to implement policies, stakeholders highlighted as leaders of change. Again, I'll say that stakeholders highlighted as leaders of change, creating vision-based transformational policies. And I'll say that again, creating vision-based transformational policies, the COVID-19 crisis interruption in education, global pedagogy global pedagogy before COVID-19 crisis. 4.54, the shutdown of schools and the education system, the shutdown of schools in Africa, the implications for educational systems globally, those affected in Canada. Next, we go to our theme 2, 4.6, 4.61, research question 2, strategy 1, closure of face-to-face classes, strategy 2, health and nutrition programs, digitized technological devices, strategies implemented by 14 countries, conflicting conversations, consensus and solutions for assessments during COVID-19. 4.62, strategies during the present crisis and post the COVID-19 crisis. Government implementing QEW strategies, strategies for educational policy or education policy, strategies implemented by developing and developed countries, implementing educational strategies, recommendation 2, repositioning pedagogy to speed up VBT in the TLP, education strategies recommended during the COVID-19 crisis, planning to reduce further spreading of the virus. Theme 3, 4.7, Theme 3, Subquestion 2. The COVID-19 crisis and the nation's education system, combative and multifaceted conversations, education continuity, online countries readiness, preparing teachers to function effectively online, adjusting and using flexible methods, supporting principals and teachers, educational leaders' duties during the COVID-19 crisis, agenda for sustainable development, SDG 4, looking at the 17 goals, implications of the pandemic, 4.75, implications of the pandemic, concerns during COVID 19, executive educational leaders' reflections on the COVID 19 crisis, leading in a global crisis, educational leaders, distributed leadership, implementation strategies, contextual dynamics and COVID 19 crisis, solutions for assessments during the COVID 19 crisis, primary executive indication, rethinking pedagogy in the TLP 17, and we now move to theme 4. Theme 4, we're looking at COVID 19 crisis affecting both developing and developed countries, adjusting traditional methods, countries benefiting. 4.84, professional development for teachers online, flexible assessment strategies, support for educational leaders and teachers, collaboration of both teachers and students, timely responses to COVID-19 crisis, strategic plan of action, focusing on the relevant background experiences, and summary of chapter 4. Wow, that's a mouthful. I'm glad we have come to an end, but it was rich, thick, and interesting going through the chapter 4 table of contents. Wow. All right, we'll stop there, and on our next recording, we will look at chapter 5, chapter 6, chapter 7, and chapter 8.